Okay, hello everyone. Thank you very much for coming. It's our quarterly West Contra Costa Fire Safe Council Advisory Board meeting. We really appreciate your participation as stakeholders to keep our community safer. And as usual, we have a packed agenda, so I go straight to the announcements. We have several announcements. I wonder if Uche is here from Center for Elderly Independence. Not yet. One of the issues we are facing is transportation of people with mobility challenges, and we hope we can collaborate with them. I wanted to update you about community warning system. As you may know, following the civil grand jury report, the county decided to do an evaluation. They hired IEM, a consulting firm, if I say their name right, with $460,000 to assess community warning system. I'm glad to be invited as an official stakeholder because we initiated the report. And I just wanted to recognize East Bay Regional Park District for being an awesome neighbor to the community and collaborating with Carriage Hills neighbors for goat grazing with their HOA. And the last announcement is donor recognition. We are grateful to Chevron for $5,000 contribution for WUI-Cast and WUI-Go. We'll see a presentation from them today. Phillips 66 has generously donated $2,500, and so is PG&E donating $2,500. We are grateful for them to make this new experiment in raising public awareness with the help of AI possible. With that, I would like to go to presentations and invite Michel, please, to briefly update us about CalFire Zone 0 regulations. Michel?
Thank you very much. I appreciate your inviting me here. We, the Firewise groups and nonprofits associated with us in the East Bay have been fairly active at the state level in following and broadcasting the changes that were being made at the State Zone 0 Advisory Committee since March last year. In November, before the last meeting, the last 2025 meeting, we started hearing some really ominous reports that there may be radical changes involved in the recommendations from the advisory committee, which was very unexpected because for the past 5 years, essentially, it had followed a fairly linear track that was basically science-based and very supportive of the firefighting teams all over California. Sure enough, at the last meeting of December in 25, we had, although everyone had expected that the rules would be, if not finalized, at the very least being close to finalized and ready to recommend for ratification by the Board of Forestry, we heard that there would be a 4-month postponement and that the board would study affordability. We were very surprised by that announcement because the meeting before they had talked about the fact that they were going to drive towards ratification as early as possible. They even had put up a schedule. So we spent a lot of time investigating the reasons for this. And I should say at this stage, we're absolutely apolitical. We are wildfire organizers and purely focused on wildfire. The reason why I'm giving this warning is because there are likely political reasons behind these changes, and I will mention the ones that we believe are correct. We have obtained an enormous amount of information since the last meeting of 25. Everything that we hear in Sacramento, and again, this is from apolitical people, is that the reasons for the changes, the radical changes to the recommendations, are due to the fact that LA County as a whole is opposed to the recommendations, and there is a very widespread belief that LA County is a primary source of presidential donor funds for presidential campaigns, and as a result, they are crucially important to the office of the governor. The outcome, whatever reason it is that in the last meeting, we were presented with a new rule that was radically different from the previous ones. It essentially introduces two new concepts that have never been presented before and that have not been studied by research, which is a safety zone that's a narrow 1 foot area around a structure, which is the only part of zone 0 that actually excludes plants, and a wider 4 foot zone that's now called low combustibility zone that surrounds the 1 foot safety zone, and that allows some plants in zone 0. I'm going to pass on the details. Anybody can reach out to me. The interesting thing is that for the first time in the meeting, there was no strong pushback from opponents of strict zone 0. Well, of course, because it's not strict anymore. But the feedback that the committee got was fairly evenly shared between opponents and supporters of strict zone 0. There was criticism from both sides. Two notable things are all of the firefighting groups that were attending were opposed to the relaxation of the rules and asked specifically that they be allowed, that it be 100% sure that they be allowed to impose stricter rules. And the second thing that was notable is that IBHS, for the first time, did not endorse the rule. They asked the committee to follow the science between quotes, and we approached them directly after the meeting, both representatives. We had discussions with both representatives, and we were told off the record that they could not endorse a rule that would lead to further cancellations, and that by their member insurance companies, and that they felt that the present rule would lead to further non-renewals, and that therefore they could not endorse it. Where are we going from here? We believe that there's a good chance that the present rule in one form or another, somewhat modified, might go to ratification, but we're not sure. There are really three options. The first one is that the Board of Forestry tosses the can forward and waits until the November gubernatorial elections. The second one is that they use this rule or something substantially the same for ratification. The third one is that they significantly worsen it. We don't think there's any chance that there will be an improvement to the rule. We are going to submit language that requires at least one improvement to these rules. The new rules allow for the perenniality of combustible fences forever in zone 0, whereas the previous version had a sunset rule in it. We're going to ask, yes?
Thank you very much, Michel. We're running out of time. I'm sorry, but I wanted to ask you to please put your email address in the chat. And I'm asking everyone who's interested in networking and communication outside this meeting, please include your email addresses. So if you could wrap it up in a minute, please.
I think I'm done, really. I don't think we can expect any improvement to this rule. We probably should expect worsening to this rule.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate your coming despite other commitments. Thank you. Next, I'd like to ask Richard Diaz to provide an update on planning for evacuation drill on May 30th, please.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Richard Diaz, City of Richmond Fire Department. So very briefly, I know everyone is allotted very quick few minutes. So things are in place for evacuation drill. Something that, as you all know, it's being done in coordination with the Fire Safe Council. The date, as many of you have already are aware, it's Saturday, May 30th, between 9 and 12 p.m. As usual, meaning as we normally do in similar type of evacuation drills, participants will have to register in order to be part of the test environment. As something to be done separately than a live alert. Those people that register will receive a community warning system alert, prompting them to evacuate. That's going to be done in consultation with us as well. We're going to be analyzing and assessing internal objectives that matter to us when we respond as part of public safety agency, and including part of our police department. What does that entail to evacuate participants for the community? The indication and the direction for folks to go, for those that want to continue on and be involved in the whole aspect of the drill, will be to mobilize themselves to get out to practice their personal evacuation plan over to the Hilltop Mall. Get there. Once they arrive, there's going to be an opportunity to provide feedback. Kind of like do a series of not a series, apologize, but just kind of like do a drive-through type. There's an opportunity for those that want to park and engage with some of the stakeholders that Fire Safe Council is coordinating to bring in on board, some resources to be handed out, etc. So it's going to be something very, very simple, not complex. Registrations are still ongoing. We are keeping track of the registrations that we have. I am waiting still for the community warning system team to let me know what is the latest. The last number we received was last Thursday afternoon, and we're looking at about 150 registrations. And just to clarify the number, remember, it might be a household number. So we don't know, we cannot simply say how many folks are arriving based on that number. We're encouraging folks to use one vehicle as they would if this was a real situation. And that's it. So if they do drop the latest number, I will pop it up in the chat here. But the outgoing efforts to outreach efforts are ongoing, as I mentioned. For the fire department, we're actively putting out messaging. Flyers have been handed out. They continue to be printed out through various offices, targeting that particular area that we're looking at. So it's the Richmond neighborhoods that are mentioned on the flyer. Bronte Hills, May Valley, Greenbrier, Carriage Hills North, South, etc. And that's the quick update. Things are moving smoothly. We've had a series of planning meetings with wider partners. We have one last one pending the week prior, a few days before, just to capitalize on how things are moving and getting the last details done in terms of logistics. Heavy lift from all sides and angles, but we're hoping this to be a successful event. That's a quick update.
Thank you very much, Richard. And we at the West Contra Costa Fire Safe Council feel in need to have another meeting with you. Rocky will reach out to you to organize it. Next, we have a presentation from Community Warning System. Anybody from Community Warning System here? Lorena? Missing? Okay. I guess no presentation regarding Quick, Marilyn. Yes.
I'm not going to do the presentation, but I will be talking about CWS at the El Sobrante MAC. They requested someone come and talk about how signing up for all the various alerts and apps that help.
Thank you.
So
No, this
all.
is a friend. We invited Community Warning System to come and talk to us about it. But, okay, we move to the next item. Planning for destination point. Rocky, are you here?
There you go. Good morning, everyone. Yes, as you mentioned, I'll be speaking and coordinating closely with Richard and his team. West Contra Costa County Fire Safe Council will have our tent and volunteers there, and we will provide some refreshments for the volunteers and the people who come to visit within the tent. And then essentially the concept here is that it'll be a flow through. And for most people, we're assuming will just want to come to the Hilltop, check in, and provide some survey response. At which point they'll just most likely want to just go home. For those, we will invite everyone to participate and park if they would like to come into the tent area where there will be static displays and more material. So that's the general flow thought of that.
Thank you very much. Richard, could you just briefly update us about traffic control? Is CERT going to be trained, or law enforcement, I assume, is not involved, right? Just 1 minute.
Yeah, we're trying to see if there is a quick traffic management training that we can get the 9 CERT volunteers that have indicated they would like to participate. Trying to work that out with
Excellent.
the police department. Nothing yet confirmed, but we're working on that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So, Chief Bachman from CalFire, if you could share with us your plans for participation at the drill and hopefully a helicopter.
So sharing a picture of the helicopter now. We had actually a media event this morning over at training, and answered questions about our wildland preparedness for this year, along with what the expectation is and the deadline for weed abatement as it's approaching. That was live streamed on Facebook. I can share that link with Sohila after the meeting as soon as I get it to push out. I did notice as I went to Facebook, it's showing in a feed that you can click on it, even though the live version is over. You can still play the recording along with we will have that recording link available. Still unsure if we'll be able to bring the helicopter. I know there's permits and everything. This event got pushed back, and it took us about a week to get permits from the FAA to land at a special event, make sure the landing zone is clear, and weather, of course, is an issue, but it's definitely not a guarantee. But if not, I will have photos there of this, along with all of our other wildland equipment that we have on a TV screen, set it up a table, identifying all the resources that we have going into this wildfire season. I strongly encourage anyone to watch the video for the live streaming. There was also a piece where our battalion chief over the wildland unit spoke about our capabilities in the helicopter, along with Chief Stark, our ops chief, added some extra information as well. And then I know they did an interview with the aviation captain who's over this program. So a lot of good information that was provided today to the media, and you should see it on local news tonight.
Thank you very much. So when will we know if the helicopter is a go or not? We hope it will be.
Probably not until the week of. And I can let you know, but I don't want it on the agenda that it's definitely going to be there, because there's just so many fluid things that determine its availability, along with us being able to attain a permit. So I would need, in order to consider that, I would need a location of where the landing zone would be, and then who's the landing zone person that would be landing the helicopter in that specific area that you're proposing.
Thank you. That information will be provided to you by Rocky. Thank you. Next, we go to WUI-Go. Sarah, I see you're here. Thank you for joining us. And please share with us.
Hey, hi. Good morning, everyone. Thanks, Sohila and everyone. Just wanted to show really quickly what we're planning to do. We have a simulation right now that's running for West Contra Costa, some of the main neighborhoods that are at high risk. And just to give you an introduction on our team, we're all from UC Berkeley, and we have a small company that's developing technology for wildfire evacuation preparedness. And we come from funding from the National Science Foundation, which is a very rigorous process. They really want to make sure that everything we're doing is high level, validated, scientifically peer-reviewed, but also that it's something that's useful for society. And we're starting on with Sohila, who has been really, fighting to get this working for the community with us. And we have, we're going to show you exactly the areas in our plan for the simulations. We've been talking with Chief Osorio and Rocky as well to better determine the different types of scenarios that we can use. And instead of talking about this, I'm going to let Shashank, one of our team members, do a brief demo to you, and then I'll show you the areas that we're going to cover for the community.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. Let me just maybe share my screen quickly. So what we're actually going to give at the end of it is we have run all these simulations, but we're going to give a tool where you just put your address in, and an AI podcast explains to you, like it concisely explains to you what the results of the simulation mean for you and how you can better prepare. And the goal is to get residents to understand the risks and take at least one next step. So I'll do a quick demo. Let me know if you can hear the sound. This is basically you enter address in and you click enter, and then after that the AI podcast plays.
Okay, let's set the scene. It's night. You're at home.
It's audible, right?
Yes.
The sound? Okay.
Yep.
On Harborview Drive in Bayo Vista.
And the threat is real. A fire kicks off up at Fairmont Ridge. You've got those strong Diablo winds blowing from the northeast.
Oh, those winds.
Exactly. And they're pushing the fire straight towards your neighborhood, towards Bayo Vista.
And you get the official evacuation order. What did the evacuation model say about that?
Sure. So that route takes you down Harborview, then Marine View, Scenic View, and finally Benedict Drive, normally. Like 3.5 minutes. Easy.
And during that first evacuation wave?
It jumps way up to 17 minutes. So that's what, 13 extra minutes just sitting in traffic?
Wow. Okay. And the model looked at delays.
Yeah.
What if you just say 10 minutes late getting out the door? Maybe you couldn't find your keys or something.
Yeah, it's pretty sobering. A 10-minute personal delay pushes your total evacuation time to 49.5 minutes.
49. So you're almost 43 minutes slower getting out
Yeah.
than if the roads were clear. That's huge.
It's a lifetime in a fire, isn't it?
Yeah.
So how do you avoid that? The model points to a couple of key things you can control.
Like what?
First, alerts. You have to be signed up for AC alerts and Nixle. Get those official texts immediately.
Right. And second?
Get rid of the friction. Have your
And so it goes to the next steps. I won't play the full thing, but to this will be provided to specific areas within the May Valley community as well. And then within each next step, you can actually open that next, and there'll be a podcast that guides you on how you do that next step, right? So for example, instead of AC alerts, we'll have community warning system alerts. We'll like customize that to May Valley, right? So that's sort of like what we're thinking about. Maybe I'll pause here and give it back to Sarah.
Yeah, thanks. And the whole idea, just to give you, let me share the screen again, just to give you an understanding of the areas that we're going to cover, is that, you know, the drill, of course, is very important, and we know the community wants to see this, but we also want to make sure that there is something after the drill that the community can go back to and re-listen to what are the best practices. And it's really about using the simulations that we have that are, you know, state-of-the-art type of simulations that are usually only available if you are capable of reading 100-page PDFs and you have an engineering background, turning that into a simple content that has, you know, its database. So everything that we understand how the car moves, everything's based on traffic models, and making it accessible for the community to kind of like understand, you know, these best practices. And after talking to different officials, Rocky and Sohaila and Chief Osorio, we identified a scenario that would be interesting, which is, you know, a fire threat encroaching from the northeast. And this is the traffic area that we're modeling. The destination areas, we're just assuming people are headed towards the entrances of I-80 from this area. And because of the fire location, we're assuming this part is closed up north of Carriage Hills. And this is the specific areas that we're going to provide products for the community. So the WUI-Brief is the larger area where we will give a similar podcast content, but it's going to be more general, looking at the results of the evacuation, average amounts of time that it would take to evacuate, and then, you know, linking people into those next steps. But the WUI-Cast area, which is this purple area here, covering 5 evacuation zones that are closer to the high hazard risk areas, we're going to have that feature where anyone here can type their address and they'll have a personalized information of, you know, how long would it actually take for you to leave your house and reach this destination? What would happen if you were, you know, late? And the whole goal is to give people information that is easy for them to understand. They relate to their address because they put in their address and they see their home. We have tested this throughout, and it really makes a difference when you give them information that is very precise to their location, right? So we're hoping to test this out and engage people that might not even have time or it didn't work for them to go to the drill, and they can access this at some point and understand what are the next steps that are best for them. And we're going to coordinate with everyone. Maybe I'll have to reach out to someone. Again, this will be, available in QR codes, and we'll think about the best way to share this. But the whole idea is that the WUI-Cast, we're gonna publish it before the drill, and the WUI-Brief will publish it after the drill, and we'll incorporate learnings from the drill, right? We're incorporate elements that the community maybe is more worried about. We can highlight safety procedures that folks were, I don't know, have a hard time understanding that you think it's more important for them. So I'll stop there in the interest of time. Thanks.
Thank you very much. So in Contra Costa County's Community Warning System, CWS, not AC, and we hope that the logos of our donors, thanks to Chevron, Phillips 66, and PG&E, goes in there.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
Yep.
And again, you may want to put your contact information in the chat. Time is short for questions. They may want to contact you later. Appreciate the presentation. Chief Bachman, do you have an update about the Hilltop Green Secondary Public Emergency Egress Route, please?
I do not. It's currently at legal. We do have permission from the property owner that they're going to allow the approval of that as long as there's no cost to the mall. And they're going to want a guarantee of if someone were to break the fence or the gate or the access and it require any repair, that repair is not going to be on them, that agreement is going to be with the city of Richmond. Would also like to provide some expectations that this is not going to be a paved road. It's going to just be a gravel that is capable of supporting our apparatus, so it could be used as an EVA access as well. And you're not going to need a four-wheel drive car. It's a flat area. It's not going to be muddy if there's a situation where we're evacuating because of wildfire. Taking a car on a short, probably 30-yard gravel one-lane road that enters into a paved parking lot will not be an issue. We've done this in other areas, and dirt or gravel is an acceptable means because it's truly viewed as an EVA access. So as we get more information on that, I'll report out the next meeting.
Thank you very much. Greatly appreciated. Chief Osorio, would you like to briefly outline your proposals at the next city council meeting about wildfire safety? And I'm going to close the door that's causing so much noise.
Okay. Just to let the group know, in January of 25, per city council, Richmond City Council direction at the mayor, Wildfire Preparedness Ad Hoc Committee was formed for the city of Richmond. Ad hoc committees are meant to be temporary committees that review a topic and then report back to the council with some recommendations. The committee was comprised of three members of the city council. Also, it incorporated certain city staff based on their area of expertise. So the fire department, it was myself and one of our wildland inspectors, the public works director, assistant public works director, and park superintendent, since they oversee some of the vegetation management projects within the city, and the city attorney's office. On the 19th of May, we'll be presenting 4 recommendations that the committee came up with. Just real brief. One of the recommendation number 1 is going to be to direct the city attorney's office to assess the current process when you are in violation of a city ordinance, and before we can get the administrative warrant and go on property and mitigate the issue. In this case, it would be used strictly for vegetation, non-compliance with vegetation management requirements and defensible space requirements. Look at whether or not we can shave some time off of that. Currently, that's the same process that any other violation goes through. So it could be a business or anything like that that has an appeal process. It's one appeal process. We're looking at maybe carving out a wildfire related one because the current process can take anywhere from 6 to 9 months, which does us no good in mitigating a hazard during fire season. So we're not sure if there is space, wiggle room there, but the city attorney would look at that. Recommendation number 2 is to direct staff to establish an on-call contract for vegetation management services. So when we get to the point where we have to get administrative warrant, we know exactly who to contact to come in and perform the work and abate the hazard. We'll determine later on whether or not that contract lives under Public Works or Fire. Currently, that service would fall under Public Works, but we're just going to have to meet with them and see where it best fits. The third recommendation would be establishing a residence assistance program, very similar to what the city of Berkeley has established. It would be to assist for home hardening and defensible space treatments between 0 and 30 feet of a structure, with priority given to zone 0 area, those first 5 feet. We're going to recommend an initial allocation of $100,000 for a pilot program. It would be provided up to $2,500 per parcel. And it would, to qualify, you'd have to either be 65 or older, have a physical disability, or meet the financial household income limitations that's established by the California Department of Housing and Community Development. So there's a whole chart. And if you fell in that chart based on your number, your household size, you would qualify for the assistance. For us, in the city of Richmond alone, we have 1,600 parcels that fall in the high severity zone. So, $2,500 a parcel, it's almost $4 million. So obviously it's just a drop in the bucket. It's not meant to be for everybody. It's meant for those that truly have a hardship. If we utilize all $100,000, that would allow us to assist 40 parcels within the high severity zone the first year. And then the last recommendation would be to make a grazing contract, just a reoccurring item in the budget. Right now, it's in the budget, but it's not necessarily meant to be every single year. We've identified 211 acres within the city that we could utilize grazing on. And currently, Public Works has budgeted $200,000. We're trying to bump that, see if they'll add another $50,000 to make it a $250,000, which was the estimate that we came up with. And then have it be a reoccurring budget item every single year, so we can guarantee that we'll have some form of grazing done every single year. So those are the summary of the main events. We're also asking the mayor to recognize this is the close of the ad hoc committee. And we'll wait for council direction on that and see where it goes. So they have the ability to move forward any one of the recommendations or all of them. It's up to them how they would like to piece it together. So we'll see what the council direction is.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Henry, for the comment. That's interesting. I hope we can get some of that grant too. Appreciate it. With that, we move to reports and updates. Do we have East Bay Mud here to please report on vegetation management and fuel reduction?
Good afternoon. Matt, East Bay Mud. Let me share a map here. So in the map here, you can see where East Bay Mud watershed land abuts to the community of El Sobrante, Pinole, and Hercules. The red area designates where we've grazed heavily over the winter months, greatly reducing the light, flashy fuels. In addition to grazing, we install disc lines. Disc lines are roughly 30 to 40 feet wide, completely void of vegetation. And again, creating a fuel break in between East Bay Mudland and the surrounding communities in the interface. And then lastly, the yellow lines designate our fire roads. And currently we're in the process of grading the fire roads. The fire roads have two functions. One, to create access for emergency vehicles. And number two, as we grade them, we're taking them down to bare mineral soil so they can also act as a fuel break. We're about 2 weeks out of completing this area, and then we'll be done for the season. So that's it for East Bay Mud.
Great. Thank you so much. If you could please send me also the slides so I can send them in an email along with the link of the board. I appreciate it.
Sure, you got it. Thank you.
East Bay Regional Park District, please.
Hey, how's it going? I
Hi.
want to do a quick update. First, hi, hopefully everybody can hear me okay. I'm in my, obviously, vehicle.
Yeah,
We
you're
have
fine.
completed a lot of work. Okay, great. We completed a lot of work in Wildcat Canyon and Tilden. We also found out with the Wildcat Canyon work that we did, part of it was with a PG&E grant that we had received, and PG&E notified us that we were the first agency to complete the work on the grant that they had given us, so we were excited about that. Right now, we are in pile burning season, so during earlier part of the year when we were doing all that contract work, we created or removed a bunch of brush piles and made them into piles. And then during this time of year, we removed that fuel by burning it. And so as of to date, it looks like we burned 165 piles in Wildcat Canyon. And that's a significant amount of piles, and fuel has been reduced. And lastly, I wanted to update that we are doing a webinar on May 27th which is a Wednesday during lunchtime from 12 to 1 p.m. Myself, a general manager, Horton, and a stewardship representative designed to update the public on the district's strategic plan, district-wide, opportunity to answer questions that people may have. A lot of times we get asked to go to different community groups. We're trying to be more efficient by having a webinar to get information out to the public without needing to attend every single community meeting within the two counties. That's into my report.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. PG&E said they would provide a written report later on. Anybody from PG&E though? Okay. So yeah, that was what I received from their rep. Caltrans, please. Oh, you're muted. Please unmute, Teresa. Thank you. I still cannot hear you. You have difficulty with the audio, I guess. While you're fixing it, we're going to move to the next, and then you can come back. County Public Works reported they wouldn't be here, but they're going to do some Pablo Dam Road evacuation routes from June 1st to June 11th. And I appreciate the report. CalFire, any reports on this section?
Yes. Share screen to show a dashboard that we are creating that will be available June 1. We'll share the link with any agency that's interested. This is following the model of CalMapper through CalFire. These projects have been done in the past 5 years. So if you look at the yellow, these are going to be local projects that were done with Measure X. When you click on them, it'll show the project name, the date it was done, total acres, initial treatment, and funding source, along with what city it's in. Go over here to the orange. This is a East Bay Regional Park. It shows it was 3.26 acres and it was completed on 9/11 of 24. We're going to be doing this countywide, along with tracking all of the evacuation routes. We've done a lot more than 16 miles of evacuation routes, but this is all we've been able to get mapped so far. But I'll show an example of, because with that, we'll also be doing fire trails. When you click on this, it'll show this fire trail. The last year it was done was in 2024. So imagine it would be done again this year. Usually we never let them go more than 2 years without doing an evacuation, or I'm sorry, a fire trail cleanup. So when this gets up and going, there'll probably be 2 separate reportings. One will be for fire trails, one will be for evacuation routes. but it'll all be recorded in this, so you can move around the county and see what's done. Also give a shout out and thank you for East Bay Mud for participating in this. They're purple. So when you click on this, same thing. It says they created a shaded fuel break, 9.47 acres, and it was done in 2023. Our goal with this map is to then share all this information with Landfire. So we're doing that currently. We did last year's update of what we did, and they've already accepted that report and said it was in a great format, and have already sent us a release form that we're willing to release all the information we've currently uploaded into to third parties, being insurance companies, if they can include that in their catastrophic models. So we think it's valuable to be able to share this data of where these fuel breaks have been created, along with creating the transparency of this is last year it was done, because there's also a maintenance date on there of when was the last time it was in maintained. Because as you get 4 or 5 years old, it's losing its value if you've never went back and maintained it. I would like to provide clarification about when we do like a fuel break around an area, and give an example of one that wrong screen, of one that we did in or one that we're getting ready to do. Screen 2. So we're getting ready to, this was a request we had out in Blackhawk, saying, hey, can we do this HOA area? And if you look at that, you'll see that it clearly identifies the red line as the edge of the property owner's line. And zoom in a little bit. And then you'll see the area that was being proposed was from the edge of the property owner out to the edge of the HOA. And this gets into state park ground out here. So then we created an actual map of what that actually would look like if we did that. And that is this area here from the edge of the property lines. We can go up to 200 feet from the house, but we're not doing 200 feet of defensible space. Defensible space is the responsibility of the property owner. We are doing that strip, which we are allowed to go up to 200 feet if you're in the high or very high and you have 30 or more homes. There's some other requirements. This is all tied to Senate Bill 131. So I wanted to provide clarification when we're doing fuel breaks, as you see that's mapped on that dashboard, we're not going onto people's property doing their defensible space. We are creating a fuel break at the back of their property in the open space that's benefiting the entire community, especially in the areas where it's very high. It's a property owner's responsibility to complete that. And hopefully the fire departments are out doing those inspections in those respective communities. So I wanted to provide kind of a closer up screenshot of what that means when we say this fuel break goes up to 200 feet. It's from the house. It's not 200 feet wide. And the area we're doing is from the back of the property line out 200 feet from the home. So as you saw in that last photo, that's why it's really got to move wider and narrower. And that's the area is the max we could do. After we sent our hand crew out to evaluate this area this weekend, they said there's some areas that just the topography isn't going to work. It's too steep. We're probably not going to be able to do the full 200 feet. It may be about 150 feet from the home. So then we'll adjust the map with what we actually complete.
Thank you very much. Quick question. East Bay Mud reported they're doing an excellent job with vegetation management. Are they participating in CalMapper or not?
East Bay Mud was the purple that was on
okay.
there.
I thought that was East Bay Regional Parks.
Yes, they were the orange. So again,
okay, both of them are.
So this is a work in progress. This isn't all the work that East Bay Mud has done. This isn't all the work that East Bay Parks has done. This is a work in progress, and the goal is we need to get all this uploaded by October. That's when Landfire will accept the next data dump in what's been done in our county. But so many people are saying they want to see all the work that's already in here. That's why we're going to have it go live early on June 1. But you will continue to see that ticker of evacuation route cleanups, fuel breaks, that number will continue to rise over the summer. It isn't that we're working that fast. It's what we're doing currently, along with playing catch up of getting everything in the system. But it will all be in there by October.
Thank you very much. We would appreciate access to the link. We won't share it with the public. I assume it's not for the public, or is it?
No, it is. So June
Oh,
1,
okay.
we'll be sharing it with every city,
Awesome.
any agency that would like to. So you don't have to come to CalFire's webpage to find it, because we're going to be sharing it with all of our cities in our jurisdiction, all the fire departments, every stakeholder that's participating. We want everybody pushing this map out there so insurance companies will get the big picture, look at all the work we're doing, and look at the track of fuel breaks that have been done in the last 5 years.
Very good. So Fire Safe Councils and public see it. That's awesome. Thank you so much. And I know that Richmond Public Works will be collaborating on that. With that, can we move to Richmond Public Works, please, with vegetation management report?
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. Jason Lacey, Parks and Landscape Superintendent. So we're about a month and a half into taking possession of our 3 new remote mowers. We got green mowers. Our staff has been focusing on getting familiar using that equipment out in Point Malati, where we have a little bit more space. So we've been doing a lot of our defensible space work, vegetation management out there, as our crews get familiar and start to gear up going into the very high severity areas. We should be targeting our work hopefully by the end of this week or the start of next week in those areas. We're getting a lot of our housekeeping work done kind of in the flatlands before we focus on that. Fire Marshal Wiley has sent over all of the list of city parcels that are going to be on the inspection list. And of the 102 parcels, I believe 34 of them are in the high severity. So we have a plan in place. We don't have dedicated crews. Most of our right-of-way crew and our parks crews will be dedicated during that 2-week period to those areas. That's all we have.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Jason. Please let me know where the area is. So I would like to come and just see those mowers. It's fun to watch them. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Pinot Public Works, please. Do we have anyone from Pinot? No? Okay. With that, we move to the next item. Clearing evacuation routes and fire trails. I know CalFire reported on that already. Can we move to Richmond Public Works and Richmond Fire Department? Do we have any update on clearing fire trails and evacuation routes?
So for Richmond Public Works, yeah, we're gearing up to target those areas. With the green mowers, we did order two of the heads. We have a Forester head and a heavy knife flail head. So the crews are getting used to is going into more of the broom and the understory, the thicker stuff that's very effective. So they're going to use that. We're going to target the fire trails. And then our right-of-way crew has been focusing on the vertical clearance on roadway and the evacuation routes. It's a slow process, but they're identifying those clearances that are needed, and they're chipping away at them.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And we don't have anyone from Pinot Public Works. Does CalFire have a report on Pinot Valley Road and San Pablo Dam Road evacuation routes? No. Okay, no problem. So with that, we're moving to secondary emergency exit routes. We already talked about Hilltop Green. Thank you, Chief Bachman. We received a request from Via Mira Vista neighborhood, which is a part of Richmond, but often ignored or neglected because they're closer to El Cerrito. On continuation of Rifle Range Road, and we have submitted a request to our fire marshal and hope to have a visit to the community to evaluate that. Also with Quail Hill Lane area. So Fire Marshal Wiley will be in touch with you to arrange that. And also Via Mira Vista, the same neighborhood, and Vista Heights has requested no parking on red flag days. Could someone from fire department or public works advise us about how the process is?
Something we're gonna have to follow up with Public Works. We can't just slap red paint on a curb and say no parking. We have to figure out how that's gonna work. if we're gonna make a rule, it has to be enforced. We gotta make sure all those things, signage and all that is reflects that. We can't just paint it red and then cite people on red flag days. So there's gonna have to be some signage changes, and that I don't know what that's gonna cost, how many signs we're talking up there. I also want to point out, I understand there are neighborhoods who have limited egress, but it doesn't mean that it's feasible to create a second exit route just because you have one ingress and egress route. So each neighborhood is unique. Some allow it, some don't. The other complexity, as we see in Hilltop, is some of these border other counties or other outside the city limits. So although I appreciate the conversation and the awareness, I feel like we need to be better at managing expectations that just because you have one way in and one way out doesn't always mean that we can create a second way in and out. And I don't know of any city that's necessarily willing to exercise eminent domain to get that done right now because of legal battles with it. So we're looking at each of these individually, seeing if it's feasible. But I think it's very important as there's community meetings, especially with the Fire Safe Council, to manage expectations and make sure people know it's good to be aware, it's good to plan, but it's not maybe always going to be feasible. I think some of these areas that you pointed out pose some unique challenges for a second means of egress. And so I don't know if it's going to be feasible or not. We'll have to look into it more.
Thank you, Chief. For your information, they already found a route. For example, Vista Heights has a route through the golf club, and they even have an MOU with the golf club authorities. We can talk about it later. I don't want to take your time. By the way, I think I skipped Caltrans during vegetation management reports. Do we have anyone from Caltrans? Oh, actually, I think you had voice audio issue. Teresa, are you back?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Awesome. Yeah, thank you
Okay,
so
sorry
much.
about that.
I'm sorry for skipping you. Go ahead.
That's okay. I just wanted to let everyone know that our regular maintenance of our vegetation management strip, which is the distance 4 to 10 feet out from the paved edge, is just getting started now on all highways in Contra Costa County. And in addition, we do have a dashboard similar to Contra Costa County Fire that demonstrates work that has been completed. I think it's usually updated annually. So we have from 2020 to 2025. So I could post a link to that in the chat if anybody was interested. And then we also have a couple of routes, notably on Interstate 80, right around Hilltop, which will be included in our upcoming service contract, which is supplemental to our normal field maintenance, where we'll be addressing dead, diseased, and dying vegetation and getting rid of flashy fuels in those areas. And so that's a 2-year duration. So at some point in the next 2 years, that area will be addressed in more detail.
I'm sorry, did you say next 2 years?
Yeah, the contract begins it's targeted to begin this summer, fall, and so we don't have a precise schedule yet about when areas will be treated, but it is a priority route, so likely within the beginning of the contract. But we'll be notifying the public as it gets closer and when we know more details about when work will be happening.
Thank you very much. We have a special request from Hilltop Green community and right-of-way, Caltrans right-of-way in that community, and they're on Hilltop Drive on-ramp, off-ramp. So we would appreciate a special attention to that. And please email me the link. By the way, does Caltrans participate in the CalMapper?
Not yet. I saw that on the meeting on Friday. And so, yeah, we're looking at trying to integrate and make sure like we're aligning. We're reporting on the similar types of activities. So I think it would be really easy to dovetail those efforts.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Let's move to the next item about red flag days, signs for red flag days. Do we have an update from CalFire and Richmond about more signs, please?
I know we own 2 additional signs and they've been identified in your agenda, the two locations that we've agreed to place them. There is a delay that we're looking at with San Pablo Dam Road, and we're trying to confirm construction. The area it was previously in was given a heads up that that may be impacted by a construction area. I don't know when. We're trying to confirm when that construction is going to start. And is it going to be impacted that we need to temporarily identify maybe another location for this year if that road construction is going to be during summer and fall. So if anybody knows anything about that on San Pablo Dam Road, that would be appreciated. If not, we can proceed with the request to get the permits. We still got to get permits to place these signs along the road.
I'm sorry, are you talking about, so San Pablo Dam Road, the place it was before, it's going to be installed, right?
Yes, but I believe aren't they doing, isn't there some proposed work to do some modification to that turn lane in that area?
I'm not aware of any. Actually, one of the complaints
I want to confirm that it's not going to be impacted by road construction this summer. And if it's not, then we'll proceed with the previous placement.
Because the sinkhole on San Pablo Dam Road has been a source of major complaint because it's a major evacuation route. It won't happen until the next 2 years.
Okay.
And the one in front of Good Table, I assume is going to happen soon.
Yes, we're working with the owner to confirm the exact location because that's the same thing. It's going to have to be off the road, not out in the center island.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Chief Osorio, do we have any more signs for red flag warnings? Hilltop Green Community is specifically asking for one.
Chief, I have an update, Chief. So we have the streets, City of Richmond Streets Department has taken the one that was supposed to be at the entrance for Alvarado Park. We are just working on the traffic. We are waiting on, the traffic division to complete the construction of an island that is due to be installed there due to traffic calming. So once that is installed, then the fire sign will be installed there as well. That's what I have at this time.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And Hilltop Green is requesting one, so we would appreciate it if you could consider that request. And we have 1 more minute, I guess. By the way, the community has been asking East Bay Regional Park District for a sign at Kennedy Grove and Sobrante Ridge. Chief Bachman, go ahead. Sorry.
I just wanted to add, I know the fire safe councils and a lot of the nonprofits are always asking, what availability can they apply for grants? I would ask that you definitely look into the CalFire wildfire prevention grant that just opened last week, and it closes July, I think it's 8th. So fire safe councils are eligible to apply for that if they have their 501c3 and they're a nonprofit. So we're definitely encouraging, every fire district in the county that has the capacity to manage a grant to put in for that. I know we're going to be putting in for one. We're still identifying what we're going to put in for, but I know at our next fire marshals meeting later this week, we're going to have that discussion of what is everybody putting in for, so there's no duplication of efforts.
Thank you. If you could share the link by email, I would greatly appreciate it, and I'll share it with others. And can we partner with CalFire or Richmond Fire Department to apply for those grants?
It depends on what it is we're applying for. Like there's certain, if I was to apply for the resident assistance program, that'd probably be just City of Richmond. But if it was something for continuous, say like a fuel break, then we definitely would partner. So it's going to depend specifically on the project.
Excellent. So let's talk about it. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, everyone. It's 1 o'clock, and as promised, we finished on time. Thank you again. Let's stay in touch, and I'll send the recording to you soon. Have a good day.